seeing from Middle Tennessee?
Delaware was a very good opponent. We respected them going in, and I think they were what we expected. And we thought it was going to be really, really important to get off to a good start in this game. We wanted to get into a situation where we were a little bit more in control. We wanted to play better up front. We did that on defense. I thought we got started early, and we were physical, and we played well. We were getting off the field on third down, so I was very pleased with our start defensively. Offensively, we, like we have traditionally this year, we started slow, and Landon Locke got his first start, and it took a little while to get him settled down. But I think at halftime, we went into halftime with some momentum, doing a good job on the last two drives. We scored on one and touchdown-wise, and then we kicked the field goal, and that I thought that got the juice going. And we knew we were getting the ball back in the second half, and we also, and this is what we've talked about all year, and it's kind of what helped us win at Oregon State. We needed to go up the ante a little bit. We needed to play a little bit better in the second half, make some plays, and give ourselves an opportunity to win going into the fourth quarter. And we certainly made it harder than it had to be, but and we made it interesting at the end. I thought there was a key play, Alton, around the right side in one of the later drives. If he doesn't step out and we get a first down, I think we got a good shot to close the game out that way. And that certainly isn't a shot at Alton by any stretch, but it was one of those plays where you felt like that first down would have been a pivotal first down for us to control the football and end the game with it. But we got the second win. The team's morale and the momentum is you can feel the energy in the building, and so now we are just closed the show on practice one for Middle Tennessee, and that is our only focus at this point.
All righty, first question from Colton Foster.
Yeah, just curious, now that you've had time to review the tape on Landon's start, what have you seen, and do you foresee him making any more starts this year?
Well, right now, with where we are at quarterback, it is a week-to-week deal. As I said last week, almost all of the changes except one has been an injury-driven decision. But right now, what we're going to do is we'll just assess Landon and Mabry moving forward and decide what we think is best for us with regards to winning each week's game. And so both of them are repping like they do all season. And they'll roll through the ones and the twos, and we'll make a decision at the end of the week.
Ben Sorrells.
Yeah, I know you mentioned it a little in the open and a little the past few weeks. What are some of the things you guys can do to get going earlier offensively? It looks like you guys have kind of ramped up throughout the games, but what are some of the things you could do to get going earlier in the games?
The key there is the run game. The games this year, and we had a decent number, but the games this year where we actually moved the ball early and turned the chains, kept the defense off the field, I think it just bodes well for our defensive performance later in the game. It's a cumulative effect on our defense when they have a lot of reps early in the game. And so when we have been able to control the line of scrimmage, we've been able to run the football, that's given us a little bit more. We've been more efficient and more stable, I think, and it's given us an opportunity to move the ball and control the game and control field position. Two are the things that are just key every week. So the run game is going to be the key point there.
Lane Fox.
Thank you.
Coach, can you, another big thing with the run game and things has been the offensive line. Can you just describe their improvement over the past few weeks? I know a couple changes that have been made at tackle.
We haven't really made a change at tackle. We're just playing. We're playing a few more guys.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Shift out. Sorry about that.
Yep. Colt and Luke have been our starting tackles. Isaac Sohn has seen some time where, as guys get to a point where we feel like they can contribute to helping us win, we want to get them on the field. And so anytime you have depth at a position, you're going to play the depth. That way you keep everybody fresh. That's the same philosophy at every position except quarterback across the board, offense and defense. we have been up and down this year on the O-line. We had a 3-4 week period where I just thought we were systematically getting better. And you could see that in the offensive performance. We've been a little erratic the last couple weeks, and I think we're addressing some of those things. I think we're going to try to gear what we do towards the legitimate strengths of the offensive line. We're going to ask them to do a little bit less here these last 2 weeks in areas where it may not be a strength, just to maintain some continuity and keep improving up front.
Buckner.
Hey, Coach, Vaughn had a hell of a game, but it looked like on that last missed field goal, it looked like he went down with some sort of injury. I was wondering if we can get an update on him.
Oh, no, he's fine. I mean, he kicked today and kicked well today, actually. So he's not on the IR list, nor are we concerned about anything. So he's good to go for Saturday.
Carlos.
Yeah, Coach, just looking at Middle Tennessee, rolled out a freshman quarterback in Roman Gagliano this last weekend, battled hard against Western Kentucky. Just some things you've seen from them as you prepare for them on Saturday.
You know, good running back. It's always interesting when you see a new quarterback. You know, you guys have asked me about the two quarterback or the change in quarterback situation a number of times because we've seen it a number of times this year. So it won't be any different than any other week in terms of you just make sure that we are aware of who's on the field and aware of what their strengths are so that, you know, that's our focus while that guy is there. They're a little different with the two quarterbacks. They're not identical, and so that, you know, they might lean on the legs of one and the arm of another. Outside of that, I don't know if the approach is going to be any different. They have the opportunity to be explosive. They've got some players on the outside. They're big at receiver. You know, they've got some length and some athletic ability, and we certainly respect the RB. So, you know, we really have to continue to just focus in on what we do. And you know, the last 2 weeks we have gotten better situational football and defense, and that trend needs to continue. You know, for our defense to continue to see some success. So that'll be a huge emphasis going into Saturday's game. And then offensively, you know, we're seeing another multiple team. I don't think they're quite as multiple as Delaware, but you know, they will line up in a mint or a bear front. They'll line up in 4 down. They are easily one of the more talented D lines we've seen this year. The 2 D tackles inside are there's some dudes, there's some players. And, you know, I said this maybe in camp. We identify the 1, the 2, the 3 players on a defense that we think maybe are matchups for us, and we want to create those matchups and attack those players. And then there are scheme changers on defense, and those are guys you've got to know where they are at all times. Fortunately for us, we don't have to guess where the D tackles are going to be. It's not like they have a safety or a backer or somebody that they can move around, and we've got to be aware. Even with a D end, I mean, you can move them around and do some things. But these 2 are going to line up inside. They're physical. They can knock you back. They can win with pass rush moves. They can get off blocks. They're good block to struck guys, and they're really, really physical. And they're used to playing a lot, and they've got a lot of experience. So the battle up front with our offensive line and their defensive line will be key for us on offense.
Colton.
Yeah, I was just curious. You didn't mention Hunter's name on taking reps. I was just curious on his status.
Hunter is done for the year, and that's on the IR deal. He had surgery today on his knee, and he'll come back after today. I think he has surgery at 11 o'clock this morning, and then he'll be back for rehab, but you will not see Hunter Watson the rest of the season.
Bob's.
Coach, I think every game except 1 or 2 this year, y'all won the turnover battle. Can you just kind of describe what that says about just the team's defense? I mean, even through the losing streak, that's been a positive.
Well, part of the winning the turnover battle is defensively with regards to, you know, you got to be intelligent about when you take shots at undercutting a route and working for the pick. We've done a really good job of that. We've got some instinctive guys on defense in the back end, and, you know, led by Iman Allen, and they've done a really good job of making intelligently aggressive decisions with regards to attacking the football. And then more recently, we've done a good job defensively. I think we've been more active and more physical, you know, where the ball is with regards to being the second or third tackler to the scene. And so when something is secured, you know, we want to punch or rip or rake and get the ball out, and they've done a good job of that the last few weeks. And so we've done a good job defensively of creating turnovers. I think it's a big reason why we won the last two. You know, but there's the other side of it as well. We don't turn the football over offensively very much also. We have thrown very few interceptions. And, you know, we've had some tough fumbles. You know, we had the one that popped up in the air from Coco, and, you know, we've had a few, but we have not turned the ball over. I have no idea where we rank, but this is it's a low turnover total on offense. And so the combination of those two has kind of put us in a situation where, you know, I think we're, I don't know, probably in the 30s somewhere with regards to turnover margin. And that has absolutely been a pivotal part of our success the last couple weeks.
Colton again.
Yeah, I was just curious. You know, you just kind of talked about it there, but what other things have you seen defensively change in these last 2 weeks that have helped y'all close out these games?
Well, it's just we continue to create turnovers, and we have improved some of our situational down execution, particularly third down. And you know, also, you know, I certainly let our defense know when I didn't feel like we did a good job of tackling the open field, and that also has improved immensely the last 2 weeks. You know, and so we are emphasizing some areas that we feel like will get us better execution, will get us off the field, creating turnovers, open field tackling, third down production. All of that has improved, and you know, I think that's why we have played well enough on defense to win the last 2 games.
Another question for Coach today. Colton, got another one?
Yeah, I was just curious, since you've had some time to go back on the defensive line, I want to say it was 8 sacks against Delaware. I can't remember the exact number, but you know, what kind of led to that? Was it just getting those guys back, or was there anything that y'all were kind of able to scheme up to get the pressure?
Well, I certainly think the staff did a good job putting their game plan together for Delaware. Delaware is, you know, close to a 70% pass team. You know, not completely one-dimensional, but a little bit. And so, you know, it gives you an opportunity when anytime you're a little bit more one-dimensional, you have an opportunity, you know, as the opponent to emphasize one area over another. We wanted to be able to stop the run, whether they ran it 10 times or 40. We just wanted to be efficient. I think they averaged 2.6 or 2.8 yards a carry in the game, if I remember correctly, and we averaged almost 5. And so when we're running the ball well and we are stopping the run well, that's a recipe for success, even with a passing team, because most good offenses that are predominantly pass teams are still very efficient when they run the football. And so that was a key point for us, and we did a good job against the run. And I thought our guys knew we needed to create a pass rush to get quarterback off the spot, get him throwing, moving. And we did that most of the night, and that was key for us having success on first and second down, which put us in a much better competitive situation on third down. And, you know, those things all just kind of work together.